They say you never truly know your neighbors. I used to think that was just a saying, something people said to justify their paranoia. But now I believe it. I live, or rather, lived, in a small apartment complex in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You know the kind. 3 floors, beige siding, fake stone trim, slightly overpriced for what it offered. It was the kind of place where the walls were thin and the hallways always smelled like someone else's dinner. I moved in after my divorce, needing something small, manageable, close to my son's school. I had Unit 2C, corner unit. 1 bedroom, 1 bath, nothing fancy. But I made it cozy. I put up string lights in the living room, got a comfy couch, and even hung some of my own photography. It was a space that felt like mine. That was before I started waking up in the middle of the night, absolutely certain that someone had been watching me. It started with the feeling, just this heavy sense that I wasn't alone. I'd jolt awake at 2 or 3 in the morning, drenched in sweat, heart racing like I'd been running. But my apartment would be dark, quiet. At first, I thought it was stress. I was going through a lot. Shared custody, long hours at the office, trying to rebuild a life from scratch. The brain plays tricks, right? But then came the dreams. In them, I was lying in bed, just as I had been, and I couldn't move. I'd see a shadow in the corner. Not a full figure, not at first, just something there watching. And then I'd feel this overwhelming sense of dread, like if I moved even an inch, something terrible would happen. I'd wake up gasping, paralyzed for a second too long. Still, dreams are just dreams, until real things start to happen. One night I forgot to lock my balcony door. It was one of those spring nights where the air smells like new beginnings. I'd cracked it open a bit to let the breeze in. I know I did. I remember hearing the blinds rustle gently as I got into bed. When I woke up the next morning, the door was shut, locked. I live alone. Now, look, I'm a logical person. I work in accounting, for crying out loud. My brain thrives on patterns and numbers. So I told myself maybe I was just tired. Maybe I closed it before bed and didn't remember. But something about it itched at me, so I bought a door camera. One of those cheap ones you can stick above the frame. Didn't even tell my landlord. I angled it just right so it could catch the balcony and anyone who might come near it. That night I left the door cracked open again, just to be sure. What I saw the next morning still haunts me. It was around 3:12 a.m. when he appeared. A man, tall, lanky, hoodie up, hands in his pockets. He stepped onto my balcony as if he belonged there. Not creeping, not sneaking, just walking in. He bent low, peering into the glass, and then, for 20 solid minutes, he just stood there, watching. He didn't try to open the door, didn't tap the glass, just stared. At one point, he leaned in closer. And I swear, even though the video was grainy, you could feel how intensely he was looking. And then, he walked away. Like it was nothing. I was shaking watching the footage. I checked the police logs for my area. No reports of break-ins. No suspicious persons. I filed a report, but they basically told me that unless he actually entered, there wasn't much they could do. Could be a prank, the officer said. A prank. Right. I started locking everything obsessively. Doors, windows. I even jammed a rod under the balcony handle. I put tape over the peephole and installed another camera in the hallway outside my door. For a while, things were quiet. But then, I started hearing the hallway creak at night. It's an old building. Creaks aren't new. But these were different. Rhythmic. Like slow, heavy footsteps. I'd sit up in bed holding my breath and they'd stop, right outside my unit. No knock, no sound, just silence. One night, I called the landlord. Said there was something wrong with the hallway light. It kept flickering outside my door. He came by the next day, looked at it, shrugged. Sensors are sensitive, he said. Could be a bug flying by. Right, a bug. a bug that looks like a shadow pacing back and forth. I tried to show him the hallway footage from my camera, but by then the files were gone, corrupted somehow, just static. I upgraded the camera. The final straw came about a week later. It was a Sunday morning. I was brushing my teeth when I noticed a smudge on the mirror. I leaned in, thinking maybe it was toothpaste splatter. But it wasn't. It was a fingerprint on the inside, right where my reflection's throat was. I checked every door, every window still locked, but I knew someone had been in there. That night I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room with a bat, cameras live on my phone, every light on. I must have dozed off at some point because I woke up to my phone buzzing. Motion detected. Hallway cam. I opened the app, heart pounding. There he was, the same man, standing right outside my door. Only this time, he wasn't still. He was rocking back and forth gently, like he was waiting. And then, he leaned in close to the peephole, so close the camera couldn't focus. He stayed like that for 5 full minutes, then walked away. I packed up that night. I didn't even break the lease. Just left the keys on the counter and drove to my sister's place in Pennsylvania. I didn't sleep for 2 days. I still don't know who he was, or why he chose me. The complex had dozens of units. Why mine? All I know is that sometimes, in the middle of the night, I still wake up suddenly, like someone's watching me. And sometimes, the mirror fogs over on its own with the same single fingerprint, always in the same place, right over my throat.